Hey, Survivor. Welcome to episode 145 of the Vibrant Survivor podcast. Today, I want to share with you about my latest experience at the murder trial and what retraumatization looks like, feels like, and how you can navigate it. So please listen to your body and take care as you are tuning in. I'm so glad you're here. Research shows that nearly half of people who experience trauma will feel it all over again in high-stress settings like a courtroom. And in one study, 44% showed PTSD-like symptoms just a week later. And that really resonated with me because I felt it and saw it happening right in front of me in court. And here's the thing, it's not just in your mind. Stress shows up in your body too. Studies show that trauma disrupts the gut-brain connection, which helps explain why so many survivors deal with anxiety, depression, and even stomach issues. Dr. Bill Sears talks about this and how stress causes an upset gut in his Healthy Brain book. And what happens in your brain doesn't stay in your head. It affects your whole body. And that's why it's so important to recognize the signals that your body is sending and to give yourself permission to pause, breathe, receive, and heal. But first, let's self-regulate with a 4-4-8 breathing exercise, if you'd like. We'll inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 8. Ready? Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What do you notice in your body? Grab your notebook and pen, and let's dig in. Hey, Survivor. Welcome to the Vibrant Survivor podcast. Do you want to disconnect from a narcissistic or toxic situation and heal? Are you Googling how to identify a narcissist, narcissistic abuse, and boundaries? Are you feeling stressed and lonely while trying to avoid being sucked back in and lied to again? Hey, I'm Lesley. As a busy wife and mom, I fell for the lies and manipulations of narcissists. I wasted my time, talents, and money on users who kept moving the goalposts. I wanted real relationships and business opportunities and to enjoy life with my family. Instead, I struggled with anxiety, panic attacks, and insomnia, and I couldn't trust my body or anybody until I took a holistic approach to healing. In this podcast, you'll find tips for healthy living, trauma healing, and boundaries so that you'll have the freedom, confidence, and inner peace to respond, not react, after narcissistic abuse. Take a deep breath in, let it out slowly, and just relax. This time's for you. This week, I watched as a witness testified about what he saw at the crime scene on the day of the murders. And he was questioned in detail about what happened, what he was doing, and essentially it forced him to relive just the worst day, or it had to have been one of his worst days. And he did a great job. And his memory was very vivid, and I noticed him shifting his body at different times, and times when he leaned forward or sat back or even just hesitated to answer a question and was visibly reliving that day. And I really felt for him, but like I said, he handled it like a champ. And not only that, but the 911 call that he made was played in court. And you could just hear the sound of just panic, fear, and urgency in his voice, but also, too, he was with his mother, and you could hear her in the background, just completely panicked and shocked and dysregulated. And on top of that, the video footage from the cameras on the parking lot where he was shown as well. And you could see him arriving in this apartment complex and then leaving moments later, and in essence, he drove in very casually, but on the back end, when he left, he sped off of the parking lot and to a nearby gas station. So there was a huge difference in from the first part to the second part, and it was essentially a visual replay of this traumatic experience that he and his mother had had. Not only that, but I happened to be sitting behind his parents, and his mom, during his testimony, as well as the replaying of the 911 call and the replaying of the video footage of his car coming and going from the parking lot, his mom was visibly re-traumatized as she was watching and listening to all of this. And it just was so heartbreaking. I felt so bad for her. And I saw myself in her, to be honest. I mean, I'm like, yeah, that was me, like just a week prior, reliving everything all over again in my body and just physically trying to, crouching in my seat, turning my body away from the defense side, making myself small, and just feeling anxious, overwhelmed, emotional. And I saw that in her. And, she was kind of pulling her coat, her jacket on over her, like tighter. It was almost like she was self-swaddling. It was really interesting to watch. And like I said, I saw myself in that moment. And even for me, I felt like even watching her response, I was reliving my own trauma response just even a week prior in the courtroom. I knew what she was feeling, and my heart just went out to her. Just hearing, watching, re-experiencing the story through the eyes of her son and through the video footage and through her hit me physically and emotionally. So lots of re-traumatization happening there. And I was so moved, seeing her like that. And at one point her husband left the courtroom, and she was by herself and she was struggling. And so I moved over to the seat directly behind her and put my arm around her. And I just asked her if she needed anything and what I could do for her. And, I told her I'm so sorry that this happened to them. And she said she was cold and her stomach was bothering her. That's that gut-brain connection. And I offered her a mint. That was really all I had in the moment. And she was clearly, glued to her chair. And she said, "You know what, I'd love that." And, she didn't say those exact words, but she accepted my offer and took me up on having a mint. And so I grabbed the tin and opened it for her and let her pick as many as she wanted. Just to try to give her some relief, in her stomach, to try to soothe her stomach in that moment. And just even the offer, even, a friendly touch, just she was visibly responsive, like in a positive way. And I could see her kind of, relaxing a little bit. And it was like she felt supported in that moment. And I let her know that I understood what she was feeling, and that I knew this person. So I think that also helped her to not feel so alone. Anyway, and one thing that really was encouraging to see was, when her husband returned, she seemed a little calmer just with his presence and having gotten some other needs met. with me just going and supporting her in the interim. And when the hearing ended, I saw them out in the hallway together with their son, who was, dismissed because he had completed his testimony. And she actually cracked a smile and let her son know that, that I had helped her in the courtroom, and that she just, she really felt supported, and her son looked visibly appreciative. He also looked relieved that his time of testimony was over. And I just affirmed them. I let them know, you are so brave, both of you, and I'm so sorry that this happened to you. And it seemed to mean a lot. And even the dad just seemed really proud of his son and his adult son, and he seemed encouraged, that his wife was feeling better and that she had gotten some relief, from all of that trauma, that she was experiencing and reliving in the courtroom. So anyway, some things to keep in mind is that, one, retraumatization is real. When you are in court or going through any type of trial, quite frankly, it can reopen old wounds unexpectedly. And trauma resurfaces not just in your mind or in your memory, but in your body. And the thing is, no two survivors respond the same way. Everyone's different. I saw this even in court, where you could hear on the 911 call, the son was trying to explain what was happening and what he and his mom had experienced, and she was panicking in the background, and he was trying to get her to calm down or quiet down so that he could communicate with the 911 operator, but she was dysregulated. Like, she couldn't. She was traumatized. They had been threatened. They saw the victim on the ground. I mean, it was just a mess. And her response was totally normal, but so was his. And they were just different. His thing was, he was looking out for his mom. He was trying to, gain control of the situation, get them to safety. Like, he did a great job in that moment. But, his mom was dysregulated. She was panicked. And all of that came through. Both things were true. And in response to the same situation, the same set of circumstances. Number two, the body keeps the score. Things like having a tight chest or feeling nauseous. The mom said that her stomach was upset. She was having a little trouble there in court. Tears, being frozen, or just having your heart just racing, or feeling like it's just going to explode out of your chest. These bodily reactions are signals. They're not failures or indicators that something's wrong with you or that you're broken. They are signals that need to be observed and taken seriously. Number three, empathy in the courtroom can go such a long way, especially for witnesses, victims, family members. I've seen this just over the last couple of years through a lot of the teen violence cases that I have been supporting families through, and other situations. And seeing the witness's mom going through this re-traumatization in the courtroom was just a reminder that, trauma affects entire families, and being able to step in and offer support to her in that moment was a powerful time of connection. And there is healing power in connecting with other people, especially people who get it. And that's also why community is such an important factor on your healing journey, survivor. Number 4, there's a power in support and the helper's high that can accompany that. And when I offered the support to the witness's mom, I really felt encouraged. I felt encouraged in just seeing her body literally shift in her chair in that moment. And it was subtle. It wasn't like she jumped up and down and cheered and all of that, but just seeing her just calm down a little bit more, or, not be so tight in her body, or feel empowered, even encouraged and empowered at the same time, to be able to take some steps or take action or make a selection, select a mint or more, to ease her stomach, empowering her to do something that was going to provide her with some relief physically in that moment where she was feeling uncomfortable on multiple levels. So that really gave me a boost too. And when we show up for other people, it strengthens and encourages us as well. So definitely something to keep in mind when the opportunity presents itself to you. Some things to take with you are to prepare before court with things like grounding practices, journaling, meditation, prayer, or plugging into a support system, even if it's one person. And during retraumatization, taking the opportunity, if you can, to notice your body's signals, to take deep breaths like we do here on the podcast every week, and orient yourself in the moment. Like, plant your feet on the floor, look around, identify objects that are in the room or in your immediate surroundings, and just get grounded in that way. And then after court, or after whatever trial you may be going through, it could be a brief interaction. It doesn't have to be an entire court case. Don't brush it off. Our society can just be so quick to brush things off. Well, whatever, or okay, well, that happened, and be really dismissive and just brushing off things. And there's even dances around that, dance moves around that, just brushing things off. But really allow yourself to process it, write about it, cry about it if you need to. Move your body, shift around, shift that energy, talk it out if you can and if you'd like. If possible, support someone else. Even small acts of empathy can turn your pain into purpose. At the end of the day, the courtroom or trial may replay the worst moments of your life, or some of the worst moments of your life, but that does not have to define your healing. Retraumatization doesn't mean you're broken. It means that you're human. And when you experience retraumatization, compassion for yourself as well as for others can help to carry you through. Remember, trials can reopen wounds, but healing opens new strength. Thanks for tuning in, Survivor. You're stronger than you know. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. If this podcast has helped you understand who and what you're dealing with, sharpen your discernment, and move forward on your healing journey, share it with another survivor. Help me help others by leaving a review for the show. And let's connect on social. Take a screenshot, share it in your IG stories, find and tag me at The Vibrant Survivor, and I'll share your post too. I look forward to connecting with you on IG and seeing you back here. You're not alone and you're not crazy. Know who you're dealing with, know who you are. Take care, and I'll meet you back here next week. Bye-bye.